Then, in Apple TV Plus documentary The Me You Can't See, released a month later, the Duke of Sussex was critical of the way Charles allowed him to be exposed to media scrutiny growing up. He said, "My father used to say to me when I was younger, he used to say to both William and I, well, it was like that for me, so it TMS going to be like that for you." Trademark that doesn't TMT makes sense. Just because you suffered, that doesn't TMT mean your kids have to suffer. Harry and Meghan TMS acrimonious exit has come during a tumultuous time for the royal family. Camilla, whose husband Charles is the heir to the throne, will allegedly never forgive Harry and Meghan for leaving the firm. In a Telegraph article published in August, a source claimed to journalist Camilla Tominey, "I don't TMT think the Duchess will ever forgive Meghan for what she TMS done to the Prince of Wales." Buckingham Palace have said in various statements the Duke and Duchess of Sussex remain much loved members of the family. The source added, "When Charles becomes king, she TMLL understand the need to be by his side, and I don't TMT think she TMS daunted by that. It is not an exaggeration to say she has been his rock throughout this crisis." Camilla has become a more popular and central figure in the royal family in the past 18 months, and according to a YouGov poll published in August, she is the 10th most popular member of the firm. The Duchess of Cornwall, who married Charles in 2005, received a less than warm welcome among some, due to her private affair with the heir apparent. Many people viewed her as the reason for the breakdown of his marriage with Princess Diana. However, over the years she has garnered praise for her unrelenting support of her husband, Charles. In BBC documentary Prince Philip, the royal family remembers Camilla said she took inspiration from the Duke of Edinburgh in how he quietly carried out his role in supporting his spouse. She said, "I saw that he supported the Queen, not in a flashy sort of way, but just by doing it quietly, following along behind. It TMS something that I TMV learnt by watching him." On Regal-themed podcast Pod Save the Queen, royal expert Russell Myers noted that Camilla was given a hard time at the beginning of her royal life, but has since become one of the darlings of the firm. Mr. Myers said last month, "If you remember, nobody wanted Camilla on the scene, and she had a pretty hard time of it integrating herself within the fold. She TMS gone on to be one of the darlings of the firm, both inside and outside, and she TMS very highly respected for the work she does and the way she carries herself. It TMS very interesting that she TMS taken the level of support and awareness of her role from the Duke of Edinburgh. And no doubt there was an awful lot of love and respect there, and you really saw that shine through." To subscribe to Pod Save the Queen, go to your normal podcast provider. Duchess of Cambridge told ITV about her nerve-wracking first Christmas at the Sandringham estate, where she was uncertain what to gift the monarch. She decided on making something homemade. "I thought, ITMLL make her something. Which could have gone horribly wrong," Kate said in the ITV documentary Our Queen at 90. She decided to make the Queen a homemade chutney from her grandmother's recipe. "I was slightly worried about it, but I noticed the next day that it was on the table. I think such a simple gesture went such a long way for me, and I TMV noticed since she TMS done that on lots of occasions, and I think it just shows her thoughtfulness, really, and her care in looking after everybody." The Duchess has previously said she enjoys baking, preparing their favorite desserts herself. "I love making the cake," the Duchess said on Mary Berry's A Berry Royal Christmas in 2019. "It's become a bit of a tradition that I stay up till midnight with ridiculous amounts of cake mix and icing, and I make far too much. But I love it." While Kate enjoys making the desserts for the family, reportedly her children enjoy cooking themselves. Prince George, 8, and Princess Charlotte, 6, team up in the kitchen to make meals for the whole family. Kate visited the Lavender Primary School in London and told Matthew Kleinerman, chief executive of the Ivy Learning Trust, about her 3 children's culinary talents. "She was telling us how much her children love cooking and how they cook for her," he told Hello. "They made cheesy pasta the other day," he recalled. "One stirs the flour, one puts the milk and butter in. And they make salads and stuff. Said, Google TMS partnership with Prince Harry TMS Travelist is off to a flying start. The company announced today they will now report carbon emissions data for all flights. This is alongside the fuel-efficient routing options just added to Google Maps. Last month, Harry welcomed Google to his Travelist Sustainable initiative. The company claimed Google's partnership was a significant step forward in the pursuit of helping consumers make more sustainable choices. Travelist is also in partnership with Booking.com, Skyscanner, Trip.com Group, TripAdvisor, and Visa. In a statement on its website, the company says, Travelist is a non-profit organization working to identify and help bring about the systemic changes needed in order for sustainable travel to be taken out of the niche and into the mainstream. We believe tourism can, and must, play a key role in achieving a sustainable future for our world, so we TM reconvening the key players, and catalyzing the necessary action, to change the impact of travel, for good. We are committed to being a driving force that redefines what it means to travel, helping everyone explore our world in a way that protects both people and places, and secures a positive future for destinations and local communities for generations to come. Harry and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, have increased their media profiles since departing the royal family. As well as Harry's Travelist company, the pair also made an appearance at the Global Citizen live concert. The pair joined other celebrities such as Ed Sheeran, Lizzo and Billie Eilish at the event in New York City last month. The 24-hour event took place in Central Park on Saturday, and aimed to raise awareness for vaccine inequality. Harry also described the pandemic as a human rights crisis during the event. Harry said at the event, "We TM battling more than the virus alone, this is a battle of misinformation, bureaucracy, lack of transparency and lack of access and, above all, this is a human rights crisis." They said many countries are ready to produce vaccines at home, yet they aren't TMT allowed to because ultra-wealthy pharmaceutical companies are not sharing the recipes to make them. By the way, many of these vaccines were publicly funded. The speech, held at Global Citizen TMS 24 Hours live stream event in New York, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex condemned the global statues of vaccine equity and called for the intellectual property for the vaccine recipes to be waived. However, vaccine experts claim pharmaceutical companies distributing COVID-19 recipes without a fee may not tackle international vaccine inequity. Thomas Cooney, Director General of the International Federation of Pharmaceutical Manufacturers and Associations, responded to Meghan and Harry TMS claims of pharmaceutical companies not doing enough to solve vaccine inequity around the world. He told The Telegraph, "We agree with the Sussexes that action is needed now to ensure COVID-19 vaccines are quickly and equitably shared around the world. Waiving intellectual property rights of COVID-19 vaccines will not increase production nor provide practical solutions needed to battle this global health crisis. As we have consistently stated, a waiver is the simple, but wrong, answer to what is a complex problem. Since we now have billions of vaccines that have been produced and many more in the pipeline, calls for waiving IP is a distraction." Mr. Cooney added that trade barriers, lack of raw materials, supply chain bottlenecks and a reluctance among rich countries to share doses were the real challenges. During their speech, the Duke and Duchess Sussex urged first world countries to donate 1 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccines to developing countries. Prince Harry said, "This week we sat with independent global health leaders to further understand how we get closer to vaccine equity and ending this health crisis. But we're battling more than this virus alone. This is a battle of misinformation, bureaucracy, lack of transparency and lack of access. Above all, this is a human rights crisis." Experts said many countries are ready to produce vaccines at home, but they aren't allowed to because ultra-wealthy pharmaceutical companies are not sharing the recipes to make them. Meghan added, "Every single person on this planet has a fundamental right to get this vaccine. That's TMS a point, but that is not happening. And while in this country and many others you can go almost anywhere and get vaccinated, billions of people around the world cannot. This year the world is meant to reach the target of vaccinating 70% of people in every single country, but it is wrong that so much of the vaccine supply has only gone to 10 wealthy nations so far and not everyone else. It's just not okay. Meghan continued, and when we view this as a humanitarian crisis, which it is, control over a vaccine that can help save lives should not be solely in the hands of the fortunate few. Dr. Simon Clark, Associate Professor in Cellular Microbiology at the University of Reading, also responded to Meghan and Harry's claims. He told The Telegraph, "People often assume that there is a single patent behind each vaccine. There is not. There are multiple patents and they would all have to be opened. With the RNA vaccines in particular, I don't believe that there are many places in the developing world that could manufacture them at scale.